It's 5 p.m. Monday, June 1st, and I bring the Douglas Board of Health meeting to order. First on the agenda, we have COVID-19. Do we have a report on that?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was just stuck in shock.
A little bit, yep.
So yes, right now we have 2 active cases, several people in quarantine. So far we had 42 confirmed cases and 3 possible cases, which means that those 3 people were tested for antibodies. They were not tested for, they don't have the swab test. So
Okay. So what type of a test was it?
For antibodies, just a blood test to see.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, but it brings us to a total of 45 so far.
Oh,
like
45.
Yes.
Okay.
But like I said,
Matt's memo today said 42.
Yes.
Yes, because he didn't include those 3 possible cases. These are just confirmed cases. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can see that the number is declining, more cases.
Right.
But the last cases keep us busy.
Yes. Okay.
Still going.
So that pretty much wraps that up, right?
And like I said, there is a CTC. It's like the state organization who helps with the contact tracing, and like busy towns and cities ask them for help. So far, we didn't have to do that. I was able to handle all those cases myself.
Okay.
They were coming like steady. I didn't have like a surge coming, bunch of cases at once. So.
Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question, Bob.
Yes,
how many
go ahead.
People, how many people read my email about last Friday afternoon parade?
Yeah, I read the email. Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
How can that many people not wear a mask? How can all those people stand that close together? Wow.
Yeah, what can you do? You're not going to change.
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is suggest. I mean, people have a right to do what they feel best or comfortable at. They can always leave the parade. They can always go I mean, I know it isn't the best way to solve the situation, but
at least they're outside.
I'm sorry?
At least they're outside
Yeah, they're outside, right.
Indoors, I guess you could kick them out of the establishment, or there might be something more you could do, but what are you going to do?
There's nothing you can do, really. I mean, it's not the best situation, but people are going to do those things,
Did you say anything to anybody, Dick?
No, I was driving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so are there any other? Go ahead.
Pretty active with people along there. I didn't feel comfortable stopping in the traffic, so I just kept going.
Well, as long as they didn't stop at my house, I have no problem.
Is the incubation period 2 weeks?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, we'll find out.
I guess.
We'll find out.
Right.
I'll let you know if I get some new cases in 2 weeks.
Okay.
If we get a big. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Any other comments on that? We move forward. Okay, we have Children's Haven Camp. And Emily, I think that's you, is it?
Let's see. Let me get that email, because basically the woman Anne who runs it had some questions. There was kind of a lot of questions, so I'm not sure if it's actually something I should email out and we can all kind of discuss it that way. I think a lot pertain to Agnieszka. She's just kind of wondering, so first question, do we know when the state DPH will release camp guidelines for the summer? Kristen,
the camp guidelines are, the camp guidelines are coming out today for day camp. Overnight camp, day camp will be phase 2. Overnight camp may not be till maybe phase 3.
Okay.
So I know she's got different scenarios, but of doing a day camp.
Yeah, it
But
seems
she's not going to be able to
that
do the overnight one, even with the families.
Okay. Let's see some of the other questions that she had.
She had one about a face mask is not a covering, face covering. Didn't she ask about that too?
Hang on, there's so many questions. So wait, what do you mean a face mask is not a covering?
The mask, the shield, like the face shield. I'm sorry, the face shield.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was a question.
Yeah.
One question was, does a certain person need to take temperatures? Like, so say if they do have just day campers, do they have to take the temperatures daily? And does that have to be like a nurse or somebody special, or could it be anybody?
All the guidelines are going to come out well, I had a 1:30 conference call, and they had another conference call after that with all the camp officials. So I think later on today or tonight, all the guidelines will be out.
Okay, so I guess maybe we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they come out, I guess then we can talk to her and see what other questions she has.
Yep, and she might get them answered because she might be part of that association.
I think she is. She talks about the calls.
I would be surprised if they did not take temperatures.
Yeah.
Well, she was more wondering like if it has to be like a nurse or somebody or if it can just be a regular like her.
No, for checking temp, many places, I'm not sure how it applies to the camps when the kids are, but in many places just a regular person checks the temp.
Right, that's what I figured.
If they know how to do it and they understand their readings and normal levels.
Should there be well, maybe in the report that's coming out, it'll probably be a little more specific, but is there any type of instrument that they should probably use for that?
The best would be the touchless one.
Right.
You don't touch their forehead, just do it from the distance.
Sure. Okay, any comments or any questions? Okay, what I may do in this right here, if you continue on, Emily, if you have a report, you can probably give us your report right now.
Okay. The only thing that's really been going on, 38 South Street, she called me the other day, actually. I believe it was on Thursday. And I did drive by.
Right.
Last weekend, and it did look like a lot was picked up, so that was good. But she just said they have a little bit more left to do, and I said, I know, like right now it's kind of difficult to dispose of some things because I think they had a lot of metal. So yeah. And then they just have like wood. The only thing that I said was fine about was that they have a lot of wood right now that they're trying to season and use for winter. So obviously I'm not going to make them throw that out.
Use for what? I'm sorry.
For winter, for their
winter, for burning, yes. Okay.
She was asking me about that, but I said, of course you don't have to get rid of that. So, but it does look a lot better.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Okay, good. At least we're making progress there.
Yep.
That's good.
And that's really it for right now.
Okay,
very well. Any questions, folks, out there?
I just looked and I did get the guidelines. I'll forward the email to everybody.
Okay, great. So we move on. Water sampling, Dick.
Yeah, what an adventure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I did 2 of the 3 because one of them is not open. And Joe took me around to all 3 and told me some of the tricks of the trade. Kristen,
you mean Joe? Oh, Joe, yes.
Yep.
Yes, Kristen told me to wear shorts. Turns out the shorts weren't short enough.
Oh, Jesus. You had to go wade your way out, huh?
Well, I went a little deeper than I thought I was going. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Joe talked about the technique for gathering the water sample, and that went well. I learned that you mark the container before you dip it in the water because ballpoint pens don't like water. Little details.
Yeah.
I also learned something else.
We live and learn.
Yeah, when my feet get cold, and the water was cold, when my feet get cold, it creates an urgent biological need. Let me just put it that way. So that was another adventure.
Any other issues or any problems with the testing?
No, it's a lot of time for a little bit of testing. Because you have to take the samples then down to Bayville in Connecticut.
Right.
And I forgot to ask for replacement files. So I am in the process of taking care of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Another interesting adventure.
It was indeed.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay, I guess not. Next, we have the DEP grant. How are we making out on that? Are we doing anything with it? Or
I was talking with Irene Congdon, and she said that there are no grants for engineering studies, period.
Okay.
There are grants to do things, but not to study. So I talked with you briefly, and we're going to talk with George and Dick tomorrow.
Okay.
And we will come up with some ideas to make the transfer station more efficient and to allow its expansion.
Yeah.
If we choose to expand it, we'll bring all that back to the board for their discussion and decision.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds, from what George had mentioned to me, sounds like a pretty good idea. Some of the issues, some of the ideas that you brought up.
And George is brainstorming fast too. So.
Yeah. Right. Well, we need it because we have to do some kind of transition up there. It's going to work.
One observation on Tuesday. Tuesday's not necessarily a busy day, and it didn't seem to be busy. I was up there doing my thing, and somebody was in the whatever you call the station, the house, and pushing
the little shed. The shed.
Shed was pushing the button constantly to compress the stuff coming into the container.
Into the compactor?
Yeah, I mean, it was almost continuous, and I was there for, I don't know, a couple of hours or an hour or something. And then I started noticing
which compactor was it, A or B? Do you know?
Furthest one away, I believe. But it was
That's
just the amount.
That usually is.
Yeah, it was just the amount of
usually
stuff
that's not an issue.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry?
One of the staff being assigned essentially to sit there and push the button just struck me as horribly inefficient.
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to do is to see if the vendor, the hauler, has a way of monitoring what's there, and when it reaches a certain level, it will automatically cycle.
Yeah. I don't know if it can sense that, because it's difficult. Some people throw in, I don't know, things that I don't know how they would sense that, by weight or.
No, I would sense it optically by level.
Yeah. Well, that's a possibility, or even well, you hate to do it time-wise because that could be compacting when nobody's there.
Correct.
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to dig into that.
But that's one of the things that George, Dick, and I will talk about.
Okay. Seeing that are we still at the grant here? Yes, we are.
Yeah, the grants, there were grants to do things, and Irene said she would come and talk with us anytime we wanted and describe specifically what's available. And that's better than me trying to do it.
Right.
Mainly, I was trying to find engineering study stuff, and she said there's nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Okay. So now we're into next issue is the transfer station, and we talked about layouts, right? Different layouts. We have to switch over to back to recycling.
Yes,
everything.
we certainly do.
Yeah, we have to. We have no choice. I don't know. I haven't really studied your cost analyst, Dick, but can you fill us in on that?
There was no
I'm sorry?
There was no difference. I was totally amazed.
There was no difference.
It's just a few $100 difference, one to the other, maybe 1,000, maybe.
But there will be a difference because then we'll have to pay Blackstone.
That's right. There will be a
So
difference.
you got to add that to that. So it's more expensive to recycle.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right now.
Yeah, but the trouble is the state could come down on us.
You have to recycle, yeah.
Yeah, we have to recycle.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to go back to recycle. Go ahead.
Does everybody know that we are the last town in the state to not go back to recycling? And that gets reported.
You made me aware of that.
Yeah, that gets reported monthly up the line.
Right.
So stand by.
So they
I mean, it's understood that we have, we did what we could do as far as the virus was concerned to combat that, at the transfer station, and that's why we shut it down. But we'll open it up. We have to open it up. Eventually we have to open up. So we're gonna, as far as I'm concerned, I think we should open it up, and we should take a vote on that tonight.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we could do is instead of filling up the cardboard and the paper to the level where it falls back out, that we stop at like 3/4 full and get it out of there.
Well, I don't know if that's such a big issue. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Does anybody else have any thoughts about that?
Oh boy. I don't know. I mean, reopen.
Yeah. How do you feel about it, Corey? I mean, really, thinking about this is the way I'm looking at it. It's out in the fresh air.
Right.
It's out in the fresh air. Like you were saying before, how much of a danger is it to be around the cardboard? Or I know the people too. That's another situation. But they, our guys can keep that social distancing away from anybody in front of them, around them.
Right.
They can do that. Just make sure, and to make sure that the people push that cardboard down and compact it the best they can. Because I don't want to fill the container halfway and have to cost a shipping charge.
Right, twice as much money now.
Right. We're trying to keep the price down as it is, and it's a battle.
I feel like we shut it down because there was a lot of unknowns. We shut it down. Now we know a lot more. I think we've sort of got over the hump. I think if the guys are comfortable, I mean, they have masks. They have a wash station. They have plenty of soap.
Yeah.
I think wearing a mask, not being coughed or sneezed at or on, and washing your hands a lot so. I think it's probably time to reopen it. Like you say, we're the last ones in the state. It seems like we're going to be sort of forced to anyways at some point. So might as well let the guys go back and start recycling again.
That's kind of the way I feel, but I just don't want to fill it halfway.
Right. No, I mean, if we're going to go back,
I know what you're trying to do. Yeah, I know what you mean, Dick, but I just, we've got to keep the cost down too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to be like,
Yeah, force it in.
But I mean, I don't know. I think we're okay to bring back recycling back to the way it was, and the guys wear masks I think they should wear a mask when they're going over to handle the stuff.
Oh, absolutely. They wear masks all the time.
Good. So I mean, keep the mask on and wash your hands and get back to it.
Sure. Emily, how much time do you spend at the transfer station?
Absolutely zero. But I agree with what Corey was just saying. I don't,
Yeah.
and with you, Bob, too. I don't think we should fill it just halfway, just because I think that they have all the like everything that we can give them to keep them safe, anyways. So I don't think spending the extra money and hauling it away sooner is going to do much.
Okay. All right. What we're gonna do, I think tonight, what I'd like to do is take a vote on reopening the transfer station.
Do we have to make a motion, Bob?
Yeah, if you could make a motion, that would be great.
All right. I'd like to make a motion that we reopen the recycling center station in entirety.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion's been seconded. Any discussion? Okay. The motion is accepted. We go back to recycling.
Are you doing that tomorrow?
And I'll inform them. Yeah, I'll let them know that, we're gonna have to open up the plastic and the cardboard. There was a question about the glass. If we should continue to, put the glass in the compactors. Did you hear about that, Dick?
I certainly did. That's one of the topics. I didn't bring it up. Irene brought it up.
Okay.
And she said, one of the things that you cannot do is put glass in. It's banned. B-A-N-N-E-D. That's banned.
Okay, so we go back to full recycling then.
Right.
Oh, you're not supposed to put glass in the compactor? Is that the deal?
Don't. I'm in the Amazon, so don't worry. That's my bird.
So you can't.
Should say
so
my
you're not
wife.
supposed to put glass. I mean, people throw away glass all the time. A lot of people probably don't even recycle, but obviously we're not supposed to tell people, okay, guys, throw away your glass. So from now on, we're opening recycling to glass.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And there's still going to be people that do whatever, but telling them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it's not perfect, but it is what it is. It just,
Right. All right. So
sounds good. Sounds good.
I just remembered too, I have to take that off of the website, Kristen. I forgot to do that on Friday.
Okay, yeah, right.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let's see, that takes care of pretty much the transfer stand there. The only other thing is we have Dick did pick up some clover. Is that right, Dick?
Yep, the clover has been seeded and has sprouted and is doing its thing. And it'll be a year before we find out if it does what it's supposed to do, which is to suppress the grass.
Yep. Okay. Well, hopefully it'll work.
It has sprouted.
Even if it carries us through for a couple years, then at least, maybe by then we can look into a capital, a capital.
A big investment, huh? Something big.
Right, a capital investment. That's what I mean. Okay, so we have open session. Okay, so anybody have anything to add to whatever?
Actually, I do.
Okay.
When we get a septic plan submittal for review, right now we ask for 6 septic plans from the engineer. I was talking to Steve Donatelli today, and I don't know how much it costs for the people to get these copies, but we really only need 5. So he just wanted me to get it okay. It doesn't need to be voted on or anything, but just to change it from 6 plans to 5 plans.
That's fine.
Yeah, if Steve was okay with it, then I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I'm throwing away all these extra plans, and it's costing people money, and it's
Yes.
Yeah, we spend enough.
That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I would like to say that I want to thank Dick for extending his services up at the transfer station. He painted the stairway going between the upper shack down into the down where the compactors are. He did a real nice job. He spent, I don't know how long he spent there, but it had to be a good portion of the day. And he did a great job. And
wow. Thanks, Dick.
way to go, Dick.
Would you all please stand so I'd have a standing ovation?
Of course.
It's
We always standing, right?
at least it's an ovation. So so
Yeah,
yeah, no,
nice
we do appreciate.
Yeah, in the Clover, Dick. Thank you.
Before we
Thank
leave,
you,
I do have one item. I talked to Kristen today about the water sampling and if it was required and the format it's required in, because one of the things we could do is we could take a sample of the water, put a treated piece of paper in it, and if it changes color, E. coli is present. And if we could send that sample, take another sample and send it off to the lab for analysis. If we came up and did a test like that and all 3 places did not show any E. coli, we would not have any samples to run down to Dayville that particular week. But I don't know what the required law is.
We can't do that. We have to bring it to a lab.
You have to have a sample every week for the lab?
Yes. Well, Wallen Lake Terrace was monthly because they did put in applications to become monthly. Once their samples are really good for a couple of years, I guess they can request a monthly testing, but last year they had a bad test. So they had to go back to weekly for 2 years, I think now.
Okay.
Wow.
So, but it has to be done at a lab because I have to turn all that paperwork in. Because when you get the sample, I get the result plus the those 2 papers that you turn in. I get back from the lab, signed off from the lab. So I have to turn those 3 pieces of paper in for every test at the end of the season.
Okay.
And I think we have to talk about our case.
I'm sorry?
We should talk about the recent case of COVID-19 and issues.
Okay, yes.
That was advice from Matthew to discuss this with the Board of Health. I'm just tired of talking about this over and over again. But we had a guy, we had a resident who was tested positive, and I got the notification Friday, last Friday. So I called this person, and he told me that he received a call from the lab in the morning, so he was already aware that he tested positive. And when I asked him, is this a good time now I just need to talk to you for a little bit. Is this a good time? Do you want me to call in half hour? He was like, oh, can you call me tomorrow? Because I'm busy setting up a tent for the graduation party for my daughter. So, I said no, I cannot call you tomorrow. I can call you in an hour, but so he said okay, so let's talk now. So he answered, most of my questions until there was time to calculate the isolation and quarantine, isolation period for him and quarantine period for his family. And then he started to showing some attitude and not sharing any information with me. So I asked him for email address. I wanted to send him the information, guidance, a guide for information about the quarantine routine stuff I'm doing with everyone. He refused to give me the email address, and at the end he wasn't even polite. So after finishing the conversation, I called the police chief, just to talk to him privately. And I said, he told me he is setting up a tent for the graduation. He's a positive case, and I instructed the case over the phone about the quarantine isolation, that they shouldn't have any people over. They should not go into any public places. But it looks like something is happening in that residence. They are planning something. So so the police was aware of that, just in case, because I provide them with the addresses anyway. all positive cases. I provide the first responders with the addresses. And so that was, and today I received the email from the police chief that mother and the daughter who are in quarantine were present at the graduation ceremony in high school. The daughter gave a speech during the graduation. So we had to figure out if the father was present because he's positive case. The rest is just contact. So, I had to call the state, get some information or how to handle this. I was emailing with Matt and police chief all day long, back and forth, and with the principal of the school, because I wasn't, I didn't know if the father was there, how much the family was involved in the whole graduation ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing is that if it looks like only mother and the daughter were there at high school. So people who've been in contact with them, they are not subject to quarantine. Because contacts of the contacts, they shouldn't be quarantined. The father wasn't there, but we don't know if they had people over. Was he there? They shouldn't like. So that's
wow.
I don't know. Something more will come out from this.
No, I mean, I guess if people get sick, we'll know who caused it.
Yep. Oh yeah, and and my point is I don't want them to get in trouble because it's a spilled milk at this point. It's too late. But would be nice to let him know that we are aware of that. He cannot fool Board of Health. We are aware of that they were in the public place, although they shouldn't be, and they should follow the rules in the future. They still in quarantine.
Can we send him a letter? Can we send him a letter or something saying?
That was the state. Should I send them a letter from the town nurse with all the requirements? Should we do it as a Board of Health? That what would be?
Yeah,
the
that
best
should be a Board of Health. That should be Board of Health. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think we should send them a letter and acknowledge the fact that we know they broke quarantine, and just reiterate that we advise them strongly to do that. Follow those guidelines.
Yes.
I think if you don't do anything, then you're just saying it's okay. So I think maybe sending them a letter and saying we're aware that you violated the quarantine order. Please understand it's for everyone's safety. Blah blah blah, and please continue to do your best to follow those orders or something, whatever.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, I think we gotta write
those parameters. Yeah.
I think we gotta acknowledge it.
Just to document it too.
Right. Because document it, acknowledge it. If
he's being belligerent, about it,
Yeah.
You can't
I understand the daughter, I mean, that's a big deal, graduation day. So I understand it, but I mean, hopefully they were smart and they wore masks and they weren't breathing on their friends and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, you gotta hope that they were at least smart about it. But we should definitely say so that they know we know, and in case something big happens, in case 50 seniors
right.
Sick.
As far as I know, the daughter wasn't wearing a mask. This is what the principal said. The mother posted a video of her daughter's speech on the Facebook. So, there is why. I don't know why, but she did it.
So she didn't wear a mask?
Yeah.
No.
Honestly, I'm not opposed to sending these people a fine because what you said sounded really nice, Corey, but they're not doing their best at quarantining, and they should be. And they know what they did was wrong, but they were being selfish.
You know what? Like I said, my goal is not to put them in trouble because it happened already. We cannot do anything about it. But just to let them know it's not okay. We are aware of that. It's not okay, and you should follow the rules like everybody else is. People are postponing their weddings.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'd be pretty mad if I found out that somebody I thought was safe at my graduation that they decided not to wear a mask.
Right.
Yeah, they decided not to wear a mask and put everybody at risk. You know what I mean? And if in next week or 2 weeks we find out there's a bunch of cases, I think
knowing that you live with a positive.
Right.
Knowing that you're living with a positive.
And you know what, even more so if they had people over in their house. And to my understanding, there was some gathering after the graduation in their house. I wouldn't want send my child knowing that, someone is positive in that house.
And I bet they didn't even tell anybody, oh, my dad is positive.
Or not,
So can the cops send him a fine? Can we fine him as well? I mean, I'm not.
You know what? At this level, I think there would be like the warning, maybe more like just to. Attached also the guidance, quarantine and isolation guidance from put in the envelope because I didn't send them the guidance because the father didn't provide me with.
I mean, that's knowingly putting other people in danger. So I would say.
When I told him, I can send him something, he said to me, "I don't need your information." Like he was rude, like I was really. I had the feeling I'm messing up their plans.
Well, let's get on that. Let's send it tomorrow. I mean, ASAP. Send it out tomorrow. Have it certified mail, whatever. If you can't find them. I mean, I would have the cops do whatever it is, whatever that first thing is. If it's a warning, give them the warning. If it's $300, hit them with $300. I think that's pretty belligerent for somebody to. That's just a kind of a jerk move to just that you're positive. I understand the daughter at graduation, but I mean, to then have a party after knowing that. Your dad's walking around the house and I mean, it's not like, he was positive 2 weeks ago. He just.
The same day.
Corey,
I don't know, how many people were there. Was the gathering outside? I have no proof.
Either way. I mean, just them being at the graduation. I mean, knowing. Yeah, I mean, I guess you don't want to miss it, but maybe you would just wear a mask, do your speech, go off stage. Leave early, get there late. I mean,
right.
But you know what? They probably didn't want to tell anybody because everybody would be like, "Well, don't come then."
Right.
So they probably did keep it hush hush. Which that's a shame on them. I mean, if you have to lie to people so that you can do something, that's
it's selfish. It's very selfish.
That's messed up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wish we were right now so that people could hear us talking that somebody was that ridiculous, but. Oh well. Oh well, but yeah, I mean, I would say whatever. Sorry, Bob.
I'm wondering what Agnieszka. I'm wondering about the captain, police, the chief.
So you know what? I emailed them.
What did he say exactly?
1 second. I have his email here. What they say, what Matthew said, and what. They emailed me this afternoon.
Yeah, I wonder what his position was.
Yes. So, 1 second. So Matthew said, I think board of health should be made aware. I think anyone who was exposed to his family needs to participate in the contact tracing and quarantine process. So he's like, thinks that people should be traced but we don't know who was in contact with the father.
So I would
sounds like it could be hard.
And you know what? On Friday he didn't want to provide me with any names, like even his family. He didn't give me the name.
Send it.
Yeah.
That's all right. Send him the email. Ask him for a list of anybody his family. We can say like, listen, we know we know that your daughter and wife went to the graduation. We'd like a list of contact names of anybody that you were in close contact with. So that
I would go as far as to say we know this, and that's a good we know that they are carrying this, and if any potential cases come up that you were around, you're responsible for those cases. We have to. I don't think we can really fine them.
I think the first thing is a warning anyways.
What's that?
I think the first thing's a warning anyways.
Yeah, right, a warning. And I think the letter is great, but
so I just gonna read. Yeah, I read you what the police chief said. I agree that it should be brought to the Board of Health's attention. It does not appear that this family is going to take the protocol seriously. I don't know what action the board could take against them. At this point, but it should be addressed by them.
The part that I don't like is that they gave you attitude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they really were disrespectful to you, and that, to me, should be handled by the police. But evidently, it's not going to be.
You know, he was like, who told you to call me? Board of Health told you to do that? And I was like, no, I'm just.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
I felt like I'm harassing him.
Well, he's gonna really feel different when he gets a letter saying if anybody gets sick, it's his fault.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Right. It's documentation. That's all we can do right now.
I just want to say too, I believe how it works with finding people and all of that. I think it's at first, like, kind of say if you see somebody in public without a mask and you say, can you please put your mask on? And they're like, no. Then you can find them. The way I see it, Agnieszka was trying to get this information and was saying we need to get it. And he was like, no. And at this point, I feel like we could find him. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I get it. I think you're right. But will the fine do any good? In other words, would he even pay the fine? And if not, what are the repercussions? We have nothing.
Court?
No. Right.
No,
yeah, we end up in court.
Right, or maybe
that's what happens. We end up in court.
Yeah, or you put a lien. I think somehow you can do a lien on the property if they ever sell it.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's a.
Do we want to go to that extent? I don't know.
No, because you know what? None of us really like. He wasn't like how to put it. He was like mean. He was mean. Like at first he was okay. He never was like extra friendly, but he was okay. And he really became like rude when I, calculated the days of quarantine for his family and isolation for him. Because he realized, okay, we have plans for tonight, for tomorrow, and it looks like.
I mean, that's too bad because they were part of the parade. Then I'm sure mother and daughter were the part of the parade and drove around, yelled out the window at everybody, and I mean.
Yeah, we don't know if he was there. No one saw him. So it looks like he was at home, but we don't know like who came to his house,
Right. I don't know who I was looking for. I stood outside and watched the parade go by, so I would have,
Sure.
Are we allowed to like request that the mother and daughter get tested, or no?
They should be tested. Like not should be. That's a recommendation. Your recommendation is that all contacts of the positive case should be tested.
It's only a recommendation.
This is recommendation from CDC. That's not the order.
Yeah. Well, you would think they'd want to under those conditions.
I still can't believe this guy, knowing he's a carrier like that, knowing he's positive and like just tested positive. I mean, I can understand the girl not wanting to miss graduation. That's a big deal. But to do so, not wear a mask, put others at risk. Just because you want to be there, I don't know. It's pretty selfish, but
it's unfortunate. But we only have limited. Go ahead.
That's just.
I was just going to say. Yeah.
I'm thinking.
We only have limited. Go ahead, Agnieszka.
No, that's okay.
No, I was going to say we only have limited powers to handle these things, and as much as we're the Board of Health, however, if people are defiant, there's not a whole lot of recourse we have except, like you say, Corey, to write that letter, and sometimes put it in writing, and it's documentation. You never know what's going to happen down the road.
Right.
You know it as well as I do as teacher.
Right. Well, I mean, God forbid, if somebody gets sick that was in close contact with them and they get it bad and they die from it, and
that's right.
The guy knowingly, went there or whatever, or his kid knowingly went there. I mean, they're somewhat responsible for that. So
that's it.
Putting it in writing and making them aware of their level of responsibility, I think, is important. So, I'm in favor of fining, but if we don't want to do that and we don't want to like hit them with, and
I think maybe we could see how he reacts to the letter, like if they do provide Agnieszka with the list of people who was at the party.
Then I would say, write the letter, ask them for contacts of people that tell, we know you went to graduation. Anybody that you were in close contact with, we would like to know in case they come down with the virus, we're able to trace it.
That's right.
That's
right. And it's documentation, you know.
Right. So definitely, I think that ought to be done ASAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can put like something like that, that the Board of Health is aware that your family members who are in quarantine were present at the graduation ceremony at a public place.
And violated quarantine.
This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is a violation, yes, of the quarantine.
And then we send a letter off to, you send a letter out, a copy of that letter to Matt and to the police chief.
Yep. Send a copy, to Matt, the police chief. Make sure you check with Matt too before you send it out.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
So Kristen, tomorrow we're gonna work on that letter together. Okay.
I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So.
Okay, but you're on Thursday, right?
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Wednesday's good.
So we'll do it Wednesday. Okay. I'm gonna make like draft.
Right, if you can get it mailed out Wednesday, it'll be there by Thursday. He'll get it Thursday. That'll be.
Well, that's
fine.
I don't know if you want to mail it or do you want to have the constable bring it? If you mail it.
We can do that. Oh, do the constable. That's a cool idea.
Yes. The constable is much better.
Yeah, that's even better. Have that guy deliver it. Here you go, sir.
Serious?
Right.
Well, because if you mail it, I don't know if they have a P.O. box or it could sit there.
Yeah.
Make sure you tell the constable wear a mask.
That's a better idea.
Yeah, she does.
Much better idea.
Oh, good.
So I'll work on the draft tomorrow, and we're gonna finish it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you want to work on it, and then we can send it to Matt first. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send it to you.
That's great.
We'll do it together.
Okay.
Good idea.
Don't feel like you have to do it by yourself.
We gotta do something. What a dirtbag, huh? But
yes, that's for sure.
It happens.
Well, folks.
Takes all kinds, don't it?
Do we have anything? Do we have anything else? Well, folks, it's great seeing you all. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, motion's approved. We are adjourned.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.